So my name is Dr. Michael Lane. I'm a lecturer in law at the School of Law at the University of Worcester, and I'm also the research lead for law. So my research foremost is concerned with states' relations with international human rights, primarily the UK. I'm particularly interested in what's called the United Nations Universal Periodic Review, which is it's a unique mechanism where states essentially are reviewed by one another. They receive recommendations on their human rights situations. And so that was the focus of my PhD thesis, the UK's engagement with that. And I continue to have quite a strong interest in the Universal Periodic Review, looking at its potential uses, its current uses, ways that it may be improved rather, and how the UK may shape its relationship with international human rights going forward. So the projects that I'm currently involved in include, in relation to the Universal Periodic Review, I'm currently looking at ways in which domestic stakeholders can use the Universal Periodic Review, that is stakeholders in the United Kingdom. So this includes, for instance, looking at how lawyers can use the Universal Periodic Review, which is a new area because something that happens in the UN, it's quite distant, and typically what we find is that lawyers, judges in their judgments don't really refer to it. But there are actually many ways in which it can have utility. So I'm looking at the ways it may have utility and how to empower lawyers in the UK. My work with other institutions, stakeholders include, for instance, I've done work with the Equality and Human Rights Commission before. So in 2022, I was involved in a project to deliver capacity building for civil society organisations, which essentially was familiarising these organisations with how to engage with the UN human rights processes. And the outcome of that was we held, for instance, like a civil society conference. We had organisations come from across the UK. And we also held a private evidence session in Parliament as well. So we informed the Joint Committee on Human Rights approach to the UN's Universal Periodic Review. I think in terms of notable impact to date, for the United Kingdom's Universal Periodic Review in 2022, in advance of that, I and colleagues visited Geneva in Switzerland to inform that review. So we essentially spoke with different states' delegations in Geneva to inform them of the kind of contemporary human rights issues in the UK. And that actually we could see when those states subsequently made recommendations to the UK that had a discernible impact, and they were consistently raising some of the concerns that we drew to their attention.